Funches is out. The question of who steps up still lingers. Michigan's 8 total turnovers is tied for the second worst in college football, while the Wolverines have forced just 1. And with that, Michigan's -7 turnover margin ranks number 124 nationally. That has to change, of course. Michigan's young offensive line will have to hold up against a pressure-based, blitz-heavy Utah defense today. While the unit has shown improvements compared to last year's struggles, U of M players know the heat can return at any moment. Stat leaders: Devin Gardner, 45 out of 66 passing for 546 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Derek Green in the rushing department, 50 carries, 332 yards, 3 touchdowns. Devin Funches, 16 catches, 2 in the Devin Funches at wide receiver, 16 catches, 202 yards, 3 touchdowns. Joe Bolden with 22 tackles, Brendan Bayer with 2 sacks, and Jordan Lewis with 1 interception. Now for Michigan State. They take on Eastern Michigan at noon today on the Big Ten Network on television and on the Spartan Sports Network on the radio. Flagship affiliates WJIM AM 1240 and WMMQ 94.9 FM in Lansing, WJRAM 760 in Detroit, and Sirius XM Channel 119. The latest line, Michigan State -45. Series record, Michigan State leads 9-0 all time. The Spartans enter the game as a 45-point favorites against the perennially struggling Eagles from across the state. Michigan was actually a 3.5 favorite, actually. So back to the Spartans. Michigan State. But Mark D'Antonio stressed this week that the Spartans need to be ready to play. Michigan State's senior running back Jeremy Langford gained 4 yards or more, just 3 of the 14 first down handoffs he took 2 weeks ago against Oregon. He says he's focusing on getting these 4 yards instead of the home run ball, and trying to jumpstart the Spartans' languishing running game. Redshirt freshman defensive end Demetrius Cooper had one of the best off seasons of any Michigan State players. Now he's looking to turn that potential into production. This week's position breakdown is pretty straightforward. The Spartans are better everywhere on the field. Expect to see plenty of people out at Michigan State's home games this year. The school sold 61,931 season tickets, the second most in program history, and a full batch of 14,000 season student tickets, its most since 1988. Stat leaders: Connor Cook, 41 out of 60 passing, 628 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jeremy Langford, 37 carries, 143 yards, and 1 touchdown. Tony Lippett, 15 catches, 300 yards flat, and 3 touchdowns. R.J. Williamson and Marcus Rush with 13 tackles each. Ed Davis with a sack and a half. And Nick Tompkins, Curtis Drummond, and Darian Hicks with an interception each. Now to the Central Michigan Chippewas. My school, they're taking on Kansas on the road at 3:30 on CMUChippewas.com and the Chippewa Sports Network from IMG, presented by Fabiano Brothers. Don Shino and Brock Gutierrez on the call. Chippewas are coming off a very rough 40-3 loss at home to the Syracuse Orangemen at Kelly Short Stadium a week ago today. The Jayhawks opened with a 34-28 win over Southeast Missouri at Southeast Missouri State and lost last week to Duke, the Blue Devils, 41-3. Duke at 3-0 won the Coastal Division of the Atlantic Coast Conference last season. Kansas quarterback Montel Cozart has thrown for 285 yards and 3 touchdowns and has shown an ability to run, not unlike what the Chippewas saw last weekend in Syracuse. Signal caller Terrell Hunt, Andy Snedden from CMUChippewas.com is writing this. DeAndre Mann and Corey Avery have split the majority of the carries to lead Kansas's running game, combining for a 5.8 yard running average. The Jayhawks defense is led by senior linebacker Ben Heaney, who has amassed 26 tackles, including a career-high tying 15 last week against Duke. Heaney is a preseason All-American and a 2-time All-Big 12 selection. The Jayhawks are in their 3rd year under former Notre Dame coach Charlie Weiss, and they tripled their win total from 2012 to 2013, finishing 3-9 overall. One of those wins came over Big 12 newcomer West Virginia, 31-19, ending a 27-game conference losing streak. But no matter the opponent, the Chippewas, to a man, know they have to play better in every aspect to be competitive and to take the steps they need to take heading into the MAC schedule. Left guard Andy Phillips, a senior and 2-year captain who has started 33 consecutive games, put the blame for CMU's lack of production on himself and his offensive line mates. The Chippewas finished with just 34 yards rushing against Syracuse after averaging nearly 155 in their first 2 games. Again, you can catch, that game starts at 3:30 on the Chippewa Sports Network from IMG, presented by Fabiano Brothers. Don Shino and Brock Gutierrez on the call. That'll be on flagship stations 95.3 FM, WCFX, Sinclair and Mount Pleasant, and 98.5 WUPS FM, Houghton Lake, Mount Pleasant, Cadillac, Traverse City, and everywhere in central and northern Michigan, and all the rest of its affiliates. So that's going to do it for episode 67 of Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker. I'll talk to you after those games end. TTFN, ta-ta for now.